Hello there. Feels like a hot minute since I last did one of these, right? Yeah, well, it has been actually. It's been about, what, 9, 10 days? The last one I did was for White Dwarf 231, which I did the week before I went off to AwesomeCon for a weekend filler when I was at AwesomeCon. It's been 9 days since I last cracked open a White Dwarf and did a review and walkthrough with you guys. I promise I will do better in the future if I get the opportunities, because as you know, my time is very busy. We're going to be looking at White Dwarf 232. It's going to be the US edition, so I can't find my UK edition, so I do apologise for that. Which means this is May in US money or April in UK money. The features will pretty much be the same with some changes here and there. Some, let's say there's some country content. Like basically there will be a couple of things in here from the US studio, and the news section will look slightly different from the UK setting. I have looked at my next White Dwarfs, and they're all going to be UK for the next 4 or 5 issues, which is great. But do bear in mind that basically these are coming from my archive. Some UK White Dwarfs did not come over here to US with me, and so these White Dwarfs will go back and forth from US and UK as we go through. But before we get started, I want to talk to you about something, and you know what's coming. This is the Night Guardians. This is my fantasy adventure graphic novel. This features 1, 2, 3, 4 cuddly toys who protect you from the monsters under the bed. This is an all ages fantasy story, but it basically leans more towards dark fantasy like the Labyrinth or Dark Crystal. But if you're kids or you're a fan of the Amulet, Wings of Fire, or maybe even the Wolf Walkers graphic novel, or maybe even the Wishing Stone, this is the graphic novel for you. It's 156 pages, full colour, and it will be available in your local country. If you have an Amazon distribution point in your country, type in your Amazon UK Amazon back-end fixture for your Amazon address, and you will find this on Amazon somewhere for Night Guardians, Nick Davis, White Dwarf Awakenings, and you will find that book there. So please check it out. You'd be a great help if you could pick one up and order one of these for me. I love to get some more of these books out here. This is a great fantasy story and is where I'm heading in my future. Also, I have a Patreon. Yes, I do have a Patreon. Even I have one as well, which I'll be posting links to that below. If you want to help me do more of these White Dwarf walkthroughs or help fund my comic book creating career, please donate. $1 will get you into my Patreon with lots of exclusive tiers of basically looking at more of my comic books. Anyway, enough of this. Let's look at White Dwarf 232. May edition US, April edition UK. And we start off with basically the cover here. This cover's by Richard Wright. This is a Battlefleet Gothic ship done completely in the computer. Now, it doesn't sound revolutionary nowadays, right? But this is 1999. I think he did a full 3D model of this battleship and rotated it till he finally got an angle that worked, and added the effects after the fact. So we definitely got some lens flare and back filter going through here, and some beautiful texture on the hose here. Richard Wright, to give you a anchor point, did the cover for the Blood Angels Dreadnought box set. So that gives you an idea of the artwork that he does. I'm not quite sure where Richard went after this. I think he said it was a little bit longer than he went off to some production house somewhere for computer gaming. But this is a beautifully rendered edition. This almost was the box set cover for Battlefleet Gothic, but we had the Blanchett Shoe artwork instead, which basically I think was a better choice. But it's still a beautifully rendered piece. And for 1999, you cannot get some graphics done nowadays that look as good as this. Anyway, that being said, it's the Battlefleet Gothic edition, so we're going to open the cover and see what cuts loose. Let's make sure we're nice and centered on the camera so we can see everything that's going on in here. Okay, so here we go. It's basically a big feature on Battlefleet Gothic here. You may notice the departments are changing a touch here. We're trying new things. Now, I mentioned in my last White Dwarf, magazines like Maxim, FHM, that sort of thing, were influencing how we did our magazine designs. We're starting to look at these bigger, bolder contents pages that these magazines were featuring, like Esquire as well. So we're trying to emulate this and basically see if we can tap more into the demographic which White Dwarf was sold into, which is the same demographic those magazines sold into. So we have the usual departments here, beautiful interior cover of the Richard Wright piece there again. Battlefleet Gothic against this wonderfully sculpted background here. This is actually, bizarrely enough, another battleship defense port just behind it, just there. And we have Warhammer 40k, and we have Warhammer. So lots of Lizardmen in this issue. So basically, we're going to be returning to some of the stuff that I really got my fingers into. And we've got some Chaos 40k stuff going on here as well. Let's turn the page and see what cuts loose. As I mentioned, this is the US edition, so we're missing the White Dwarf blokes pictures just along there. I wonder what mine said this month. I cannot remember. All this news is going to be US centric. We're basically looking, but with some eccentric features featuring in the fleet releases. I really do like the look of the battleship features and how they're used. Basically, they're gigantic cathedrals in space, which I think is very much fits the Gothic feature. Though I will admit, I do kind of miss some of the old Gothic ships that came in the Gothic battleship set. I can't remember what it was called now. It was like a lid and you throw the dice in there. Those plastic models were pretty neat there as well, especially the Eldor ships with the sails on them, which appeared eventually in here as well. Alright, let's turn the page and see what's coming loose. More news, these going to cover all releases. We have the 40k Chaos Rhino, which is basically the old Rhino kit with spiky bits added to it. Some more Space Marine bits and pieces coming, so the Dark Angels are coming. Yes, the Dark Angels are coming. These were my favourite chapter, by the way, back in the old Rogue Trader, mainly because they're really easy to paint and they were black. I have no idea how easy that is to paint, I tell you. We have the Titchy Hitchy's Raiders here, which are Skinks and Cold Ones, which sounds a remarkably good idea to realise actually how low Skink leadership is, and basically Cold Ones suffer from stupidity, so they spend half the time just standing still. And we have a few more Lizardmen releases said, Skink releases said, go along with basically the Lizardmen book is coming. Turn the page over here, and we have a beautiful double page spread of the Battlefleet Gothic piece of artwork. I think it was done by John Blanche. Looks like a John Blanche piece. Look at all that. That is wonderfully rendered. There's going to be a point one day that basically is going to be considered high art or fine art, a lot like a lot of comic book art. This is just gorgeous. It looks wonderful, and it kind of gets. Look at it. It's just renaissantly wonderful. It's just lovely. Let's just take a second to appreciate actually how good this box artwork is. Because no doubt a lot of people just glanced at it and just moved on, like, oh, it's just sci-fi. Nobody looks at sci-fi. But this is a beautiful sci-fi cover, no matter what the genre is. Look at that. That's wonderful. I love these fiery effects here. This is just amazing hand-painted piece. Wow. Anyway, we start off with a US-centric edition here. They're talking about Battlefleet Gothic multiplayer madness. So they basically playing with Battlefleet Gothic in the old Baltimore headquarters. I think they're basically based in Tennessee now, if I remember rightly. Some nice little fleets showing here, showing some of the staff. They were playing the games at that time. And it is a great showing you how to play games in a slightly different environment. I'm old for this sort of like regional and sort of like, more dirty type articles. Show the joy in going to playing the games. It's a wonderful way of showing it, and I think the US edition did a great job of opening up, saying, "Hey, have fun." There we go. Diana's fighting ships of the Gothic City, based on the Diana. I think it's based off the Diana's fighting ships guide or something like that. If I remember rightly, somebody in the comments below would definitely correct me. Looking at the Chaos ships and the Imperial ships, one thing I found the Chaos ships said they were insanely overgunned, insanely tough to beat, and came with fighters. Oh, this is just so hard. While the Imperial ships were outgunned all the time, and it made it for a tougher game. But the points equivalences were almost the same. In many ways, the Chaos battleships were actually cheaper than the Imperial battleships, which was really weird. But I love the Imperial cathedral look of the Imperial battleships, and the Gothic ones of these like almost dreadnoughty Star Destroyer looks of the Chaos ships are pretty cool as well. So this is basically a guide to the ships with points and how to basically use them in the Battlefleet Gothic. And we basically have 1, 2 in the Chaos Styx Heavy Cruiser, Horrific Heartless Destroyers. That was actually, I think, a carrier. One thing I did notice in Battlefleet Gothic in all my games was how insanely overpowered the fighters and the bombers were. They could take down escort ships. They were amazingly tactically used, and you get a load of fighters coming out of these guys. Look at all these, the Slaughterer, then the Imperial Mars class. Imperial Mars class was one of my favourites because it was a carrier and I enjoyed the dual status of it. I also had a couple of Tyrants as well because I needed the guns. The guns was the thing. We could basically take these guys out on broadsides, but oh my gosh, they were just faster and better than most of the Imperial ships. We were more heavily armoured, those. Read that for us. Then we're looking at some of the escort ships here, the Idolaters, the Infidels, the Cobra classes and the Imperial swords. Like I say, they look great, don't they? Then basically a quick look at a 2-page spread of the advert for the game itself. This was a great box set game. We got 1, 2, 3, 4 cruisers on either side. 2 of these cruisers were photoshopped in at times. We didn't actually have all the available models. Wonderfully done. The beautiful way that basically the Battlefleet Gothic ship was basically done as a landscape piece, basically reflecting the ship's guides of the time and as of now as well. Great little game. I believe this was basically the Easter release. This is what Easter release games should look like, and it worked really well. Golden Demon 99 USA, behind the scenes Games Day terrain. They're building scenery because Games Day is coming around the corner here. Some great little details of scenery. How they build this stuff is really amazing. They're just great, and they really love their resin as well. And then we go on to this Chaos Space Marine Rhino, money for old gubbins and spiky bits. It's basically the old, at this point, it's going to be what? Almost a 20-year-old plastic kit with spiky bits added to it. Yeah, it wasn't going to be too long. We've got another year before the Rhino gets replaced by a new set. So it doesn't do for that. But look how small the Rhino looks compared to Chaos Space Marines. It's starting to look really tiny. And it's like, you're supposed to fit 10 of these guys in here? How does that work? Anyway, then we go to Best of Fiends. Brian Best of our Amazing Store. This is a store, Nurgle Army. Look at that stuff. Beautiful things. Beautiful things. It actually gets the Predator. Actually makes you look good. Look at all that great Chaos Dreadnought there, and that cold ones. The Great and Clean ones is great as well. One of the fun things about painting Nurgle is they just work so well on dry brushing because basically it gives that nice little diseased look. So this is a great. These are a great army to collect and paint really fast as well. Also, they're tough as heck. All action comic coming from the Black Library. I've talked about these adverts to death, but if not, basically, it's my first video of me talking about the Black Library adverts. These are insanely huge for the time, probably 30 to 40 megabytes. Which, if you didn't know, storage capacities back in 1999 was almost the entirety of an optic drive, making it very hard to transfer these files over to the printers. Warhammer spawn again, deep within the dark, steamy jungles of Lustia. The drums sound, the new spawning Lizardmen march forth to unleash the cold-blooded savage upon the invader. Boom, 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 boom. Lizardman was my jam, just so you know. Speaking of my jam, there I am just there. Let's see if we can bring it up to the camera so you can see it a bit better. Whee! Look at me. I am on a gigantic fiberglass dinosaur. I think we were at Isle of Wight at the time. They have this Fu Manchu area where basically these dinosaurs, and I climbed on the back of this dinosaur here, and my girl at the time took the picture of me on this dinosaur here. Unfortunately, what we could include was the pictures of me trying to get off this dinosaur, and I pretty much fell off and basically landed right on my back and just had to lay there groaning for a while. This is the new Lizardman army, as you can see here. This was fantastic. I actually got a comment from John Starr, him saying, "Look at this guy. He's really enjoying what he's doing here." And we've got some, you can start to see some strange, more inserts coming in here. We're really playing with the format changes. So the desk guide diagonal, this was from a display in the Warhammer World section at the Lenton facility. I don't know if this is still around, but this is basically a wonderful dissection of a Lizardman head. Very tiny piece of text about something about Lizardman's story here. So tiny actually I can't read it with my glasses. And because we're talking about collecting an army here, I was tasked with basically coming up with Lizardman army. Finally, collecting an army I actually play. But I was also had to basically add some cold ones into it and look at what you can get in the plastic box sets and that sort of thing. By choice, this wouldn't be a Lizardman army in my case. I would swap out this unit of Skinks here for another unit of Lizardmen, much more useful. I've never been able to get the cold one cavalry to work good for me because the Skinks leadership is so low. I always found Lizardmen, they work better as a rolling road type army. This roll on you, just keep grinding you down to their sheer toughness. But there's a nice little army in here, 996 points. Give you some variety units, and given a choice, I would change the plastic for spearmen because they're much more useful. I go for the various incorporations of your army types. Skink heroes are actually very, very useful. They kept you kept your skinks together, and actually were very tough for their size, equivalent to a human hero in most aspects. Source warriors were great as well. You get 1 attack and 1 bite attack, so you get 2 attacks in the front row. Add spears to it, you get 3 attacks going on. That's why I would always use spears over basically hand weapon ones. But the plastic miniatures will look good here, and plus we have a guide on how to paint your source warriors. How to paint Source Warriors by an actual gamer, that gamer being moi. This is my painting guide. I don't know, Cold Riders because I had to include Cold Riders, it wasn't through a choice. I got marks for old ones here, talking about basically various markings you can use to basically give your markings to your heroes and your characters so they can mark to their gods. That's your skink guide here by Ian Compton, how to paint your skinks in 4 easy steps. these painting guides are very, very important because we had to show you how to basically paint your toy soldiers quickly and easier to a acceptable standard. Because you can get so lost at the heavy metal standard and just spend forever highlighting and low lighting and doing mid tones. You'd never get an army painted. I still would never. A skink bow unit is next to useless now. Skinks with spears and Coxigor much more useful. Of course, we talk about spending an army, including the amazing Stegodon, which is basically a big living battering ram and scare the bejesus out of anybody you basically play against. I used to hang these up on the flank, and they used to attract all the cannon fire or heavy artillery fire. Hardly ever went down, and by the time they went down, my entire Lizardman army rolled up on top of them. Now getting eaten. A much better expanded Lizardman army here. We've got the halberdier. These are the temple guards. Plastic unit at the front here, some spearmen here. As you can see, this is the studio army, so therefore it's not the best army in the world to play a game against, but it works and it's nice. The terrain-based piece back there is done by Nigel Stirman. That's the beautiful large temple that he built. And these man's seniors basically did double duty into some of the Catachan pictures we did as well. Another piece of text image here. It's like a 9-point font, but again, I can't read it. Probably something really interesting, but it's talking about, why Krumit's Lizardman Pyramid Army is so important. And it's actually really good. It's really good. Really good looking little army, just not very good at fighting. And then we go into new spawn. We talk about new characters. Now, we basically were going nuts here, trying to show what was coming next. We had the Oxycultural there, the Inky Hunsi, and Tini Huni, the Prophet of Sotek. Great little characters here. This is a great little page to basically show off these characters. I did all the Lizardman stuff here, so I'm kind of self-promoting myself here, but it worked. And worked really well. And of course, the competition is can you spot Oxycote? If you found the footsteps, you spot the Oxycote. So that was a nice little diorama base done by one of the metal painters. And then we step into Jungle Fever 3. This is my third implementation of talking about how to build jungle scenery. Look at me, I'm so young, so young. Oh my gosh. And this is basically linked to the How to Make Wargames Terrain. This is the first time we released a useful how-to book from Games Workshop, because we actually made proper Wargames Terrain and showed you how to do it. Yes, finally, better than the painting guides that book was. Basically, we're looking at some of the bits and pieces about here. Village Sacrificial Pit, using the Warhammer hills that were available at the time, those strange abdomen sausage things. And I talk about how I covered them, how I put terrain into what the pieces were made out of, and referencing back to my older Jungle Fever articles, so you know how to put these pieces of terrain in here. The rocks were basically small pieces of gravel I found that basically worked, and this was actually a plastic toy egg. Oh yeah, and of course I put little rolled red eggs. It felt that basically these ruins should have basically, I say basically a lot. These ruins should have flat areas on here, and that should reflect that something was there way before as well. Talking about difficult ground, how to make difficult ground. This is quick and easy using stones, and my coal I bought for like £1 for like 2 pounds of coal. As you can tell, it's orange here, and painted it black, dry brushed it up. And that's how I did my terrain. It was just, all my stuff was basically started from a black base and I dry brushed out. My temple, that wasn't really done as a geometric temple. All I did here was just cut the rough shapes, because I figured it was going to be, you can probably hear dogs barking over my fingers, so the dog's downstairs. Means that somebody's coming out the house, probably a visitor. Of course it'd be a visitor, who would it not be? And we use I wanted it to tumble down, but slightly geometrically shaped, so I didn't really measure things out. This was made completely out of cardboard, and these metal pieces were the cast pieces are given to be on a merit. Lots of rubble around it, so you can use as difficult ground and that kind of thing. Counted as kind of a hill with difficult ground. This was used in a King of the Hill game we played around Christmas time for doing the White Dwarf stuff, which we never recorded, but that's the way it was used. And then we move into Fighting with Cold Blood with Mike Walker. You know, I love Mike Walker's articles. This is gaming at the gamers level. We don't do enough of this, and we really should. So this really was a nice article. Mike Walker injects it with his usual humour. Lots of fun to read. Gives you some great ideas to try playing games for real people. Yes, that's right, real people, not just people in Games Workshop. And he talks about some of the uses of these. The pterodons were actually very useful. As flyers weren't actually that great in Warhammer 5th, I believe this edition was. But the pterodons were useful because their rock dropping was laser guided, and you could take out some pretty tough units with them. Okay, now we're going to Regiments of Renown. This is a Nigel Stillman Regiment of Renown, which is Tichi Hichi's Raiders, Skink Cold One Riders, Mercenary Cold One Riders. And also, notice this? Yeah. We started previewing new releases are coming up with the old bollocks. The Giants of Albion are coming. We actually got told off this because we basically started showing off all the new releases the month before the new releases came out, and we got told to stop doing this. But again, a nice insert article, gave a good punch to what's coming up, gave it a nice little look to the to what's coming. We're trying new things to engage you as a reader and bring you back for more. Going, hey, White Dwarf's changing. It's got an interesting look to it, and that's how we end up this. Now, Titchrich's Raiders turn into a very much bigger Cold One unit there. If you get a good enough skink hero to lead them and some kind of leadership bonus on a banner, you can probably get these Cold Ones to work most of the time. And the Cold Ones themselves cause fear, so they're very useful. They're much more useful than the rider on top of them. It's a little bit like basically it's like with the Goblin Wolf Riders. The Wolves themselves are really good fighters. The Goblins are next to useless, just like a delivery mechanism. And then we have the 2-page spare, this edition of the Dogs of War book, featuring Tichirichi's Raiders here. Special rules, the best body ones, if you drive them off, you can't chase after them because you're going to get tired. They were fun. And as I say, these Regiment Nuns were great ways to add different units to your games, and also to bolster out armies that didn't have new releases for them. So they looked in both ways. Hobby centres in the US, I'm not going to bore you by looking through these. More hobby centres were opening at this time, which is great news. Then we talk about the Rogue Traders. I covered Rogue Traders in a previous video. Rogue Traders were certified Games Workshop stockists and specialists. It was a great network that basically helped the geographical problem that US had. Lots of room over here. But if you're trying to break into the country, it takes a long time to basically roll across the country. I mean, look at Tim Hortons; they're still at it, right? So this was a great way of doing it. It's just a sad way they treated these specialist stockists at the end, but I'm hoping Games Workshop's got better at doing that now. Grand opening of a new store. Games Day and Golden Demon 99 tickets on sale April 19th. Look at that; that's a blood dangerous codex cover. There can be only one. This was a painting competition between the entire heavy metal team. I can't remember who did the judging in the end. I don't think it was me, thankfully, because I think these are all brilliant. The guy who won in the end was Martin Footliff, really great guy. Richard Baker, I really like Richard Baker's Chaos champion here. Richard Baker was my nemesis at Battlefleet Gothic as well. He had an amazing tactical mind in using these fighters and ships combined forces, and used to beat me all the time. I think I only ever won one game of Battlefleet Gothic. That was just fluke in itself. Games Day 99 announcing who's coming. Look, it's Rick and Thomas. Look at them, those young fellows that they are. They're going to be special guests for this event, along with Brian Nelson, Sculptus Extraordinaire. Yeah, wow. Wow. Yeah. I'm not sure what Games Days are like nowadays. I'm sure the guests are a lot different, but I've seen a lot more costumes in these Games Days than some of the videos I've seen as well. And we're going to basically Johnny Crew's Gaming Day log, talking about the gaming tables. I ran a gaming table at a couple of Games Days. They were fun to do, if not losing your voice at the end of them. They're trying to figure out why these are always one-day events. We could extend this almost into a 3 to 4 day event nowadays and make a lot more out of it. In fact, they might do that, so if they do, let me know. More gaming tables, talking about some of the specialist games you can get involved in. The painting categories, Battlefield Gothics, and the gaming tables basically set up so you can do demo games for the entire day. This is a good idea. I still think it should have been longer than a day, but that's just me. Perhaps like I said before, perhaps it is now. The categories of Golden Demon painting and your submission and entry forms for Golden Demon painting as well. Then we go to mailbox here. We're starting to shrink back down to one page again. This has not got much longer for the world, my friends. But back in the day, this is how you basically contacted White Dwarf and got your feedback in there. How cool would it be to get a letter in your favourite magazine? I got a letter once in Transformers UK, and that was really cool to see my words there. You can always count yourself as published, to be truthful. Inferno, I love the Inferno magazine. Still think it should have been a bigger magazine format, but that's just me. Great idea. I don't know if it's still going nowadays, but it was a great idea at the time. Chapter approved by Andy Chambers. This is trying out new specialist rules, kind of like beta testing rules before making those rules official. So you start seeing smoke and blind grenades appear. That's a throwback from Rogue Trader and I think Warhammer 40k 2nd edition. Talking about question and answers, talking how to deal with certain rule whoopsies. And it helped basically in some tournament games. A lot of this stuff was feedback from tournaments. Now it's true. We started learning things, and basically some of the rule discrepancies or contradictions. Close combat notes, how to basically figure out close combats. Close combat's weird. The system worked really well. But I cannot escape the feeling that basically this came from a campaign I played in the studio, and we left the notes lying around. But hey, it's just me. Anyway, vehicles in close combat, all kinds of fun stuff, how to do casualties, and it just talks you basically how to work out the close combat phase in a structured way so you can make better use of it. Sacred Rites, talking about the Sisters of Battle getting some bonuses and prayers. An Assassin's Mission where basically you try to assassinate a special character or something in fortifications. These mini missions, I really love these mission cards. By the way, this gave you more than just basically form a line and fight each other type games. It made you think a bit more tactically about some of your games. And we finish off with basically some writers to chapter approved to help boost out the article. Also gives the feeling of interaction which we wanted to do, to basically show like, hey, we are listening to you guys. So this became a good feature, even better than the letters that we came up. This month is sung to a run on 40k Chaos Space Marines, because we've got Chaos Space Marines all over the place. And we're looking at Fred Reed's beautiful army here. He even painted a Thunderhawk. Oh my gosh, that's like, I can't remember, it's like £500, I believe that was, to buy. Came in its own case and it's heavy as heck. And you had to basically have an engineering degree to basically put together, because there's so many gaps and the panels warped so much. But beautiful model. And he did a really good job of converting that to a Chaos one. I would have done some like demon hanging off it myself, but that's me. Look at that army. Look at that. This is chaos to what my Imperial Guard was to Imperial Guard. Wonderfully done, wonderfully laid out. Somebody basically went to pieces. Great job. Now we're talking about Citadel Journal here. This is the Citadel Journal, Bomber magazine written by Games Workshop Fanatics for Games Workshop Fanatics. Actually written by Games Workshop game development trainees and other staff for Games Fanatics. It had beta rules in here, had rules that basically were trying out for size and that kind of thing. Steve Hambuck was the editor. Sadly, he died, I think, about a year later, some heart failure or something like that. Really good guy, though. Really good guy. Really good. And this is a nice little article talking about the journal, its importance, why it's important, coming from these guys, coming from Rick and Jervis, who basically pushed out probably the first Citadel Journal, which it was like an in-between magazine between White Dwarfs. I think Nigel has something to do with that as well. And it was just like, look what you can do. Do not get stuck in the rigidness of the gaming. And this is something I always say about all gaming as well. Do not get stuck in the rigidness of it. Yes, there's rules. Yes, in tournament play, you have to be basically letter of the law. But if you're out there gaming against your mates, try new things. Try different stuff. Have standing models. Do something a little bit crazy. Do something that's fun with the games. Do not get stuck into the law of the game. Have fun with the game. I always say the people that created it, which is basically Jervis, Rick, and Andy here, had more to do with Monty Python than actually with the games themselves. So let's just give you an idea here. In fact, look, there's a little Land Rover there. That's a Land Rover. Look at that. That's fun with your games, okay? And the Journal Crew is basically it was edited by Steve, with Warwick and Pickstock, who basically were the main contributors to it. But those other gaming articles came in here as well. It was a good idea to basically throw things out there and saw what stuck. And if it was stuck enough, it would make its way into official Games Workshop stuff. War over Clarendon, the Battlefleet Gothic battle report of Andy Chambers, Dave Andrews, Gav Thorpe, Tim Nancock, and Simon Schuker. This is a battle report for the ages. Trying to remember who did what. Gav Thorpe and Tim Nancock were the Chaos guys. The Chaos fleets are insanely powerful and underpointed, I always thought. And then we have Andy Chambers and Dave Andrews discussing their plans for the Imperial Fleet. So this is recorded by Simon Schuker. Yeah, Simon Schuker did the recording for this. That's the Battlefleet Gothic fleet. My fleet was white and red, like the actual box cover. Look at those ships there. Insanely tough ships, but very expensive for what you got. And at the end of the day, it came down to the amount of guns that you could bring to bear, and the Chaos ships could bring more guns to bear than you could, and if they rolled the right number of dice, your ships were done for. But look at the way Simon Schuker figured out the how to do the 3D aspects of this game. It's almost like a heads-up display screen you accept in a command and control. And I think this was a great solution by him. The semi-isometric look and the way he put this together was inspired. Of course, one of the weird things about doing these sort of battle reports is, yeah, it looks really weird, right? Look at that. It's hard to give you in-game drama in a battle report where everything's on stands and at the same height. But that's just the way it is. It just gives you an in-game game. I think we might have been better served actually having an in-game shots of the game in-game mode, not just doing these stilted portrait shots. Something like this. That's much more interesting than something like this. But we did try. I love the fact that basically these vector lines are showing things going on. This was a great idea. Hints and tips are basically how to control the battlefield. These dispatches, where it was wrote in dispatches instead of basically turn by turn. It was done really well, really well thought out. Again, this is just not dramatic to me. It's just two staged. The in-game stuff will probably be more dramatic. I do love this though. You see this? This is the Imperial slaves, Imperial ratings pushing in a torpedo. Everything was so manual in these ships, unbelievable. And that little vector reports here. Brace for impact was very useful. I once had a Dauntless that got cornered by a couple of Imperial Chaos Destroyers. Brace for impact, and they couldn't do a damn thing to it. Pretty much saved me the game. In fact, that's the one game I actually won. Great uses here, more great pictures here. And then the conclusion. Looks like the Imperial lost, which I kind of thought they would do. There's so many guns the Chaos ships can bring to the Imperial one, so that's one thing that was a bit weird. I guess we thought having the Imperial ships more heavily armoured would counter out the guns, but it comes down to throwing dice. You throw enough dice at something, it dies. Yeah, excuse me. And then we got the Games Workshop mail order. This is the US edition. Let's look at some of the prices just for shits and giggles. There we go. There, look at these prices. $3.75 for Space Marine. Oh my gosh. Battle Force is like $40. What's that? What? $90. A $22 box set. You can't get these prices in mass. Chaos Space Marine Lord, like less than $13. Oh my goodness, that's insane. Battlefield Gothic box set, $59.99. I think there's actually an increase. It used to be $49.99, but still, I don't think we can do this nowadays, right? Oh look, advance orders. Here come the Eldar. Is that the Eldar? Yes, it is the Eldar. Oh wow! Look at this, and these ships are wonderfully done. I like these. I really did dig the ships. They're really well thought out. And the Imperial Battlefleet Gothics were basically, here comes the Blackstones. Yeah, the Blackstone fortresses were coming. Mines and all kinds of crazy stuff. And we were throwing in free things like the bombers and the fighters. These little buggers, the bombers and the fighters were my bane. I tell you, my bane. And then we're going to spawn again, looking at some of the new Lizardman releases to complement the Lizardman army book that's came out. It's, Plastic Skinks, Plastic Saurus, Ichi's Raiders, Chromiotti's Temple Guide, $200 army guide. I'm pretty certain you couldn't buy that for $200 anymore. And then it's the Tixcon sale for Golden Demon and price list for Troll 16. A mail order form. Subscribe to White Dwarf, still a bargain at that time. And we finish off with my layout for Battlefield Gothic. This is all me. Looking at the ships of Battlefield Gothic. In fact, I think that's actually my battle group. Yeah, it is. You see that? I sneaked my miniatures in again. And that's a nice little camouflage space unit here. This was what we did. We tried different things. This was a very awkward layout because these ships just didn't quite work in some of these angles. Gothic was a great game, just really hard to shoot. But I do like the Mars class, this Imperial Gothic class cruiser docking with this asteroid base. That was really neat. So this is all laid out by me here too. Hence the weird background and lots of black and white. So there we go, my friends. That is White Dwarf 232, US May, April UK, $4.99 US money, probably $3.99 UK money, with the Richard Wright computer graphic cover. Wow. I hope you guys will stay with me all to the end of this White Dwarf. I do thank you for hanging with me. Please like and subscribe and share this video with your friends. You will see the various points coming up wherever they may be on the screen, probably that way, but I'm looking at everything in reverse on my TV screen above me so I can see what I'm pointing at. And if you feel that way inclined, please back my comic book. Maybe even throw a couple of pounds or dollars my way on my Patreon. Anyway, you take care. I will be back this time next week with another White Dwarf 233, which will be a UK edition, and we can go delving into the retro gaming craziness of 1999. You all take care now. Bye bye bye.